Thank you very much, Craig. Hello, everybody, and I'll let you insert your own office joke. For the Americans, we'll get that. The rest of everybody else won't. So, hey, Lara, welcome.
Hi.
Isn't
Hi.
this like the greatest place to do a panel or an interview or anything? It's ridiculous.
It is wonderful.
It's great.
And it's a little less windy right here than it is over there, so even better.
Quite brave of you to wear a dress today on a day
I think
like
a
today.
lot of people have dresses on and are realizing that it's a little windy today.
Hey, so we just got a short intro from Craig, maybe a little bit longer, just a little bit about your history. We just had a wonderful chat about your background and then just kind of how you got to Intuit and what the challenge has been so far.
Yeah, so I have been doing marketing for over 30 years. I hate to say that long, and I've worked at Gap and Nike, and I was at Visa for almost 12 years, and then was at Amazon, and then I've been CMO of Intuit for the last almost 5 years.
Well, we're here today to talk about the kind of current media landscape and some data, obviously things that are near and dear to my heart, connected television. I'd love to hear your take right now on today's media landscape. You know, it's linear, it's CTV, it's digital, OLV. These are all ways that marketers can get their message out. How has things been shaping up for you in this new world? How are you looking at things, and how are the brands kind of working together or not working together in there?
Yeah, well, so just to be clear, Intuit is QuickBooks, TurboTax, Mint, Credit Karma, and MailChimp. So we're a global fintech platform, and everything we do is customer back, from our product development to how we go to market. And so our marketing mix, our media mix modeling, has helped us, but we've shifted just based on customer behavior. And at the end of the day, what's really interesting, well, anybody who's sitting in my job is having to answer to the CEO, to the board of directors, like, why are you spending so much? And so that is why a CTV is so compelling, because you can measure, you can optimize, the targeting. And what's been interesting for us is, we acquired MailChimp not that long ago, and now we have a CRM platform where we can precisely target, we can measure, we can optimize, and that's only, helped us understand better that we have to do our own marketing in a much more efficient way. And so I would just say, of course, our mix has changed because it's super simple. Customer behavior has changed. They're ingesting streaming. They're ingesting everything on a digital forward basis.
Yeah, we see a lot of that, and you mentioned the measurability, the way to optimize. You don't have to wait till an end of campaign, especially for a brand like like TurboTax that has a deadline, right? It doesn't do you any good.
13 weeks. Yeah. Although people love to extend, which we don't. It's a little crazy on our reporting, but it's 13 weeks. You got to do your taxes if you're in the U.S. or Canada, and yeah, it's a concentrated period. I mean, I did retail previously, and I thought, oh, wow, back to school and holiday is a big deal. But it is, you're talking about the United States of America has to file their taxes.
So when you're thinking about, and I think this is a challenge for a lot of marketers right now, do they think about CTV as an upper funnel technique? Do they think about it complementing linear? How are you kind of looking at that, whether it's one of several of your portfolio brands?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the brand. Something like TurboTax, which actually was traditionally, it was a DI. We invented the category of do-it-yourself software to do taxes. Sort of interesting, because today, now we have live expert CPAs who can help you on the screen to ensure you get your best refund. And we created, this almost calcified image of who we are. Something like, all of the channel or all of the vehicles you mentioned, plus there is linear TV involved. It's a broad reach. We use sports, WWE. I don't know where our moderator went. Is a partnership we have that we leverage. But we need these moments to get connection, to shift who we are and the minds and perception of consumers, because that's a big shift we need to make, is that we're more than DIY software. So all that to say, linear TV is a complement. Do we use it across all our brands? TurboTax is the one that has this concentrated period, so that's the one that we double down on.
Yeah, you just need that massive reach, as you said, for the.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, we love to complement it because we have to be able to measure with higher fidelity. I mean, the days of just saying, "Hey, I have an MMM model" to your board or to the CEO, it's viewed as a blunt object.
So, among all of those brands, they're all direct-to-consumer relationships, right? So you mentioned CRM. You must have an amazing data set on all of your customers, users, however you want to categorize it. How do you start looking at that? How do you start looking at building audiences out of that? How do you start looking at leveraging audiences out of that? And are those brands kind of working together? Because it would seem like a lot of it's SMB business that you can kind of build some synergies around.
Yeah, it's a great question and an important question. So we have an incredible amount of data. We have over 100 million customers on our platform. We have 400,000 attributes, financial and customer attributes on our small business customers, and 55,000 attributes on our tax customers. That's a lot. And you take that with the other product customer data we have, and it allows us to get really high fidelity in how we go to market. We have great first-party data. We're, of course, very careful with it. But your data is your moat. So, we have that. It's very unique. It's all, from that, actually, we're building our Gen AI financial large language models. So it is something that is a point of difference for us. I think that the biggest thing for all of us is you have a lot of data. So it's how do you make sure it's clean and usable? And, that's the same for us. But it absolutely, is incredible for us to have that.
Yeah, you mentioned machine learning. We use that frequently to help our advertisers and our customers' brands build smarter audiences. I think it was called lookalike back in the day, but being able to find more people who look like your best prospects and your best customers, right? And so a lot of that, I would imagine, would start to be able to be created and then extracted from your CDP and from that perspective, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just one thing on totally. And we have our own CDP, which is great. One of the things that is interesting for us too is, so we have had these brands historically that have operated pretty separately, but if you're a Credit Karma member, you should be doing your taxes on TurboTax. If you are a QuickBooks customer, you should be getting customers through MailChimp. I mean, it's part of the idea of buying them. And so part of what we've been doing is becoming a true global fintech platform brand, so we can ensure we're taking our customers and actually having them go across the ecosystem and use more than one product. And that is like a zero CAC.
Right.
You're basically marketing to yourself, and so that has been a big move forward for us, and is predicated on data, right?
Is there value in the Intuit brand as like the parent brand across all of those? Is that kind of what you're going to use as the glue to bring them in?
Yeah. So, and we didn't practice this.
No, we didn't do this one. This was not on the list. I was like, oh, that's
yeah. No. So part of the journey that I've been leading is this move to a branded house. So a lot of data and studying going into, when you put Intuit in front of what we call our cornerstone brands, purchase intent rises. If you're Intuit QuickBooks customer and MailChimp is from Intuit, you're a lot more likely to want to share your data and actually try MailChimp. Same thing, Credit Karma and TurboTax. So you've probably started to see Intuit TurboTax on, ad units. It's becoming in a branded house, or what we call a platform brand internally.
Yeah, that's excellent. All right. let's shift gears. We're in the Festival of Creative. Have you had a chance to see some new ad formats, new creatives that your team has been exploring? Are they looking at anything that's kind of new and awe-inspiring?
We have a history because we're actually a 40-year-old tech company. We test and learn a ton. We are always trying new formats. One thing, it's not an ad format, but I like to think about it as an ad format to some degree, is we have Intuit Dome launching in LA in fall of 2024.
Go Clippers, go Clippers. The new home of the Clippers, right?
What?
It's the new home of the Clippers.
Yes, a new home of the Clippers. So Steve Ballmer building an incredible arena that is incredibly tech-driven, that is going to create mind-blowing fan experiences. And we are much more than a naming rights sponsor. We're a partner bringing to life all of our brands in the arena. Credit Karma will be the preferred way to pay. And it's an exciting endeavor where it is almost a big ad unit. For us, we're a digital brand. And so having a brick and mortar presence that is tech forward, customer back, fan back, and then also giving back to the community, which is part of our DNA, is really important to us. And when you have somebody like Steve Ballmer, who's super passionate about it, it's also very helpful.
We're excited about it because I believe we're doing the stadium signage on the inside. We do SoFi, we do Chase in your hometown of San Francisco for the Warriors. Citi Field, Minute Maid Park. That large format is it's unbelievable for advertising, a real immersive experience.
The other thing just is the LAX flight path goes right over Intuit Dome, so you can see Intuit Dome as you go into LAX.
I've been watching it get built over my
It's
trips.
incredible.
Yeah, it's very incredible. So a little bit, you talked about measurement and measuring kind of efficacy and effectiveness. How do you think, those of us in this room, how can we help you? How can we improve? Please don't say Samsung should give away all their data, because that's not happening. But how can we help you?
It's a great question. And like I said, if you are in my role in the C-suite, you're constantly asked, why do you need to spend this much money? Show me how that it has impact, that it's efficient. And, as we move to a world where it's really incremental ROI, help us do that. MMM is marketing or media mix modeling. We've all used it. All of us who've been around for a long time have used it. It's just, it's seen as very blunt. It's seen as a regression tool that is a black box. And, it's hard to showcase very easily how you got to that end result. And so I would just say, help us. Again, I think we have so many more vehicles that allow us to measure, which is incredibly fruitful because, I would argue it's part of the reason the CMO tenure has not been as long as it should be, because we're not able to say, let me tell you what this drove for the business as easily as we should. Now, we've gotten much better at it, and, I spend a lot of time with the team making sure that everything we do, we can say there's an outcome that is driven from it. And, I would just say you all and many of you in your jobs, this is how you can help us. And actually, I do think it's been improving. And with AI and ML, we've made huge strides.
Yeah, and I think, for us, we're partnering and really leaning into, clean rooms and the ability for us to, in a privacy compliant, match data so that we're able to provide you with, hey, here's what the reach, not just of the campaign, but of your linear, here's how everything worked together, and then you can go back and share that with the C-suite, with the board, with your CFO, all the people who need to know, hey, what are we getting out of this, right? It's interesting, so we didn't talk about this either, but you mentioned media mix modeling. How do you think that as a tool for marketers, especially maybe packaged goods marketers, starts to evolve with more and more data being able to come in from partners like Samsung or others in the room?
Yeah, I think it's still always going to be an important tool, and we need to use it. I think we need to pair it with other stuff, looking at LTV to CAC, looking at, the numbers to say, hey, what is the true incremental ROI? All of that has to be factored in, and there are different ways to do it. I would just say, it's an and. We're going to take that and use it with other stuff.
All right, so the show, part of the show that everybody loves, predictions. Where do you see the state of advertising, linear, CTV, OLV display, in the next 1 to 2 years, 5 years? Obviously, we've seen how it's starting to go, but like, how do you see things starting to evolve a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna get into too much detail because, you know, we have partners across the board, and I don't want any predictions that make them nervous or anything. But I do think, and you guys have heard this at every talk, Gen AI is going to have a massive impact on everything. And, you know, I think it's going to help my side, like the client side, get even better. And so at measuring and doing things and, well, I should say, being able to be efficient. And I would say we're going to need to be trying a lot of different things, no matter what, because you can say, for example, crypto, that was a bust. Right. But blockchain is really interesting. And so anything that we do in this space has the opportunity to totally take off, and we need to all be in front of it.
All right, what's everyone going to be talking about at Cannes next year? It's got to be generative AI, right? The evolution of that, and new products and services. Yeah, I think it's going to be generative
AI. I still think sports are a way to lift heads. You know, I know we of course have always done partnerships with the likes of NFL and NCAA. March Madness playoffs has now become another partner. WWE, since my friend is here, is not. I mean, that's a sport? Is that
Most
entertainment
definitely.
or a sport?
Sports is entertainment.
Sport entertainment?
Is sports.
Okay. But, which it's actually, you guys know, is people are obsessed with WWE. But we're now looking at nil. So all these student athletes that now are making money, they have to do their taxes. And so, look, people who traded cryptocurrency or, you know, bought stock, they have to do their taxes. And so all of these are new behaviors that start a whole nother round of how do we behave? And it's not only in serving them up what they need from a tax perspective, but also targeting them.
That's awesome. Lara, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. She's been on a whirlwind trip, folks. I think it was Bangalore, then London, and then maybe back to the West Coast, and you won't know what time zone you're in by the time you get back. But it's been awesome. Thank you all for being so great. Let's give a hand for Lara, please.
Thanks.